Hey guys and girls, welcome to this week's episode of the Birchy podcast. I'm your host, mate. Birchy is the show unraveling the truth to the side of the 21st century. We're now exiting the matrix and waking up to motherfucking reality. What a reality for a lot of people. I don't have specific stats today on these, but let's break down society. You've got poor, middle, and top end of town. People think the top end of town drive around in a Mercedes and have a house that's big with a nice double story and live in a mansion and maybe go on an overseas holiday or two per year. That's what rich is. Rich isn't really that. Rich is, the people that live the hippie lifestyle, that get to spend time with their kids in nature because that's what they want to do. A wealthy lifestyle is the people that get to travel because they don't have to go to work on Monday. The poor is, I'm a beggar, right? I'm in the street, give me $5 so I can get my next hit of crack, right? That's what people's perception of poor is. The real perception of poor is what a class in the middle class, and that's the person who's tracked their mortgage for 30 years, living in a house which, is nothing too exciting, doesn't even have the eaves on the house. Poor is not spending time with your kids, because you have to send them off to daycare while someone else raises their kid that you wouldn't really trust them with. You don't even know who the person are. You don't know what their extracurricular activities is, but they're in charge of your kids. Whilst you go and hop on a train, go to the city, sell, 8 hours, 10 hours a day working a job, wear a suit, you look successful, you drive your Mercedes there, right? But you're poor because you're not doing the things that you'd rather be doing. And a lot of people get caught up in that position. And, that's the psyche. I'm not trying to be pressing fucker here, but that's a lot of it for a lot of people. And I see, real wealth is different than the illusions of fake wealth that people have. The real wealth is those people that are, taking their kids to, swimming lessons every day, or the real wealth is being able to get the chickens to give you the eggs so you can go take your kids out and then go crack the eggs. Cook the eggs in the morning and never having a wholesome discussion over breakfast, or, it's going out and having to serve at 9 o'clock in the morning. That's not what they show us what real wealth is. They show the rich are, they're having these gadgets, consumeristic items, keep us trapped. But I digress. There's some stereotypical sort of things. There's a few things that are there. But the definition of rich, like, when I was a kid growing up, rich would have been someone having a new car. Rich would have been, a family that has a 2-story house. And rich would have been certain things that my family didn't have. But reality is that there's this middle class, which would be, let's say that there's 20% of people that live extraordinary wealthy lives. I don't think it is. I think it's more like 5% of people live. Let's say it's 10%. Right, so it's 10% there. Let's say there's 10% of people that are living in total poverty, and then there's the middle section of people, and they vary, right? The families that are, they look wealthy in the Hills district of Sydney, and then on the other side is, this house commission and 20 minutes away, and those people are on Centrelink and all that sort of stuff. But reality is that all those people don't have the real tools. Tool my finger like those podcasts like they're listening without a video. Tool my finger like a gun, because they don't have bullets in the gut to give themselves other options, right? Protect themselves. And most people have been educated to learn how to get a job and how to earn money and how to be a good, upstanding citizen in the system of the world that we're dealing with. But they're not thinking about, okay, how does my life work, right? Because 100 grand a year, people call me up and let's say I'm doing a map session, someone says, I want to retire, I want to replace my income. I'm like, it's fucking easy. After doing it so many times, I'm not saying it like it's easy, right? But it is, like, they're just numbers, right? To get 100 grand a year, I think there's a lot harder to spend 40 years of your life trying to earn 100 grand a year than what it is to find an asset. Today I'm filming this podcast. I had a young guy beside me who just bought 4 properties in 6 months. Made his podcast. It may be before this one, maybe after this one. But this guy, he's bought 4 properties. He makes 70 grand equity on each one, right? If he sold them, let's say he makes 50 grand on each one. He went and did some renos on it. Put that aside. He didn't have to get up to work every day and answer to a boss and all these sorts of things. He's got the assets. Is he going to go sell them? No, because that's what poor people do, right? Poor people sell their assets. Poor people are respecting money, right? Poor people have a love for money. Money, i.e. dollars, is worthless. They keep bringing this shit, right? And the reason why poor keep becoming poorer and get poorer in that middle class section is because they have a love, a respect, and a praising for money. Who gives a fuck? Like, let's say someone dropped $1 million here right now, right? Let's say $1 million is laid in this. It's just pieces of paper with dead criminals printed on it, right? The money is fucking worthless. If we're on an island and there's two people, one person on the island, there's no shop you go spend, right? And you've got, let's say there's 5 people on the island, right? One of them is a farmer. One of them likes to go fishing. One of them was a mechanic with vans or whatever. And I don't know, there's a nurse, right? And someone who's a doctor. There's a doctor there that can fix fucking bikes or whatever. And then there's a person with $1 million of cash just sitting there, right? Piece of paper. You think, oh, well, in society will go, oh, the person with $1 million, oh, so good to it, right? On the island, the person with $1 million, wait for the fucking rain to come. That person's got no money. It's wet. It's in bed, right? But let's say that we're on the island. The other 4 people, they didn't give a fuck about the person with $1 million. They know that the one who can catch fish can feed, so the one that can, treat the person, can fix the other person. The person that, mechanic guy can get a tree, carve it out, build a little boat, get himself the island. So the skill set is there, the knowledge is there, the ability for the people is there. That's a wealth. So the money, everyone, we go to this 12-year indoctrination camp to become a good little tax slave, to fit into the system, to go and get a job, to fit in, earn money. But that's the trap, is that people are obeying money. So as we get through the system, then we have everyone around ourselves saying, oh, you want to get out of debt, you don't like debt. But no one's really taking care of what does this debt do? How does the debt fit into the system? The real wealthy people, right, they're not sitting there going, oh, look at my stack of cash. They're not saying, hey, they have power, they have control, they have options, they have choices, they have freedoms. The cash that they keep printing, right? And I don't get into politics. I'm politically atheist. Very clear on that. People say, oh, Trump this, Trump that, blah, blah, blah. Trump has just signed something for the removal of the debt ceiling. What the debt ceiling means is that they've printed all this debt over the last couple hundred years in the US, for example. In Australia, we had no debt a decade ago, and now we've got $1 trillion worth of debt, which accrued just during Corona, by the way, close to it. 70% of it got created during Corona. The interest rate of 10 basis points meant that the $1 trillion worth of debt was $1 billion a year worth of interest. Now it's got up to 4.35%. That means it's $43 billion a year. That's the size of Medicare of interest bill. Where do they find that black hole from? It's a different topic. Trump's just removed the debt ceiling in the US, meaning they can print all this cash. As they drop interest rates will go back down to zero. The central banks, the governments will buy bonds, right? They'll buy bonds at 10 basis points again. If they have the ability to borrow, there's no debt ceiling, so there's no LVR to it, there's no backroom to it. They just go, hey, we want bonds, give us $100 trillion worth of bonds. They print these bonds, devalue the currency a little bit. They've got them locked in. It's like locking a loan in at 10 basis points, right? And that's what these central banks are ready for. That's what all the governments are waiting for. Once they do that, there's going to be a wash of all this cash. The governments can say, oh, we'll give baby bonuses here, we'll give building grants over there, we'll give immigration grants here to get more people in for more labourers because there's not enough for the jobs, whatever it has to be. And then they just manipulate, distort, create fraud, and push their way through with power, leveraging debt-based instruments, which is the money that you use. They're pushing buttons to print money and create money out of thin air, whilst you're going to work and spending a year of your life and then losing food because of their tax. They don't need your tax, right? They don't need your tax to be successful, right? The government does not need your tax. They need your tax to keep you trapped, to take from your wealth so you can't get too big and get out of that system. Just understand that, yeah? It's a whole other paradigm. But the more cash that they're printing, more dollars they're printing, it means that it's devaluing your, mine, all their energy, all of our results, all of our work, because what we just work for doesn't buy us what it used to. But the real wealth is anyone that has anything apart from cash, right? Because if you've got a car that'll go up in value, who would have thought, like, in the 1990s, you drive down the road, you'd see an old Ford Falcon for sale for $70. You'd see a Datsun Bluebird for $150. You'd see a Toyota Corolla. How many of these cars I fucking bought for $200 and sold for $600? I've made $400. You know, I used to arbitrage cars when I was 18 years old, right? Early 2000s. Now those cars, 20 grand, 40 grand, 60 grand for an old shit box, right? How did they ever get their value? How did Bitcoin get a value of $170,000, right? I'm not saying Bitcoin is bad or crypto is bad in any capacity. It could go up in the millions, right? I'm not saying it will either. But what I'm saying is the only reason why it has a value is because they've printed too much worthless currency. So if you had, I don't have any pens on me, right? But let's say I had a pen, right? A fucking biro, a pen. In 1999, a packet of pens probably $1. I don't know what a packet of pens worth, like $10 now, $5. So if I held my pen throughout 20 years, right? If I had 1 trillion pens, right, the pen is worth more than the currency because the currency is losing its value. So why do the rich, getting back to the topic, right? It all makes sense, everything I just said. I'll tie it back in. The crashing of the currency, the pressure they're putting on by stealing your wealth. You're trying to create wealth in physical, in make-believe currency. You've got make-believe, like it reminds me of that Wolf of Wall Street, Fugazi, fusing, right? Whatever they call it, right? It's fake. The money's fake. They just keep printing this shit. It's worthless. It's like having a glass and keep pouring water into the cordial, or the drink will disappear afterwards. It'll be washed away. The value is being washed away from your currency. So keep working, keep selling your time. You can only sell your time for X amount of currency. You can only sell, get X amount of currency in. But everything around you is going up in value at a much faster rate. Now, in the Weimar government in Germany, right? I'm not going back to Hitler or the war, right? They report that a bottle of wine, the hyperinflation that occurred, a bottle of wine you'd buy for $5 today for the bottle of wine, but tomorrow it would be $50 for the bottle of wine. The bottle would be worth $5 the next day. So the bottle of today would be worth more than what the contents of the bottle was worth the day prior. So we're entering into a world of that. Unfortunately, you do what everyone does, you get what everyone's got. I don't want to be like everyone, right? I'm different. I look at things different. I see things differently. I don't like where everyone's going. If you want to be like everyone else, do what they're doing, get what they've got. If you want to change it, you need to look at all the things around you, and assets are the wealthy. All the wealthiest people, think about your lives and think about anybody that's wealthy that you know, right? Do you know 10 people? Do you know 100 people? Do you know 1,000 people? Out of that pool of people you know, how many are fucking wealthy? I mean, like, not like, hey, they've got a cool car that's hooked up to a loan, right? They ain't wealthy, they're trapped, right? Who has the wealth, right? There'd be a very small amount of people that have intrinsic value of wealth, real wealth, right? There's physical assets, right? I'm not talking about some crypto's okay, it's physical assets. I'm not saying about that. I'm not talking about how many Dogecoins you've got or how many fucking Amazon shares that you've got or Telstra bills that you've got. I'm talking about physical assets, whether it be gold or silver or crypto's good or shares are good, right? Who do you know that's sitting on so much fucking wealth that they don't know what to do with it, right? Like Pablo Escobar style, right? Not many people, but the ones that do don't have it sitting in their bank account going, hey, I've got, like, in 1990, someone gave you $100. That was like getting $5,000, right? I don't think it's because I was a kid. It just had a much greater value than what $100 does today. In $100 will get you 2 pizzas, right? If you're lucky. $100 used to fill a shopping trolley 10 years ago. $100 will give you like freaking half a bag of groceries, but so the you don't know someone that's got $1 million and they go, oh, I'm so rich, because that $1 million doesn't buy up much today. The people that have it are the assets. You want to own assets. I have a total disrespect for cash because it's worthless. It's trash. I spend all my money before I get it. I don't want money. I hate money. I hate currency. I say currency and money, the belief that people have in money. Money isn't money. They've taken that's a story for another day, right? But the currency that we use, I have no value in it. I don't want dollars. If you had $100 today, you'll never be able to buy the same amount of shit that you can today in the future, right? You're going to be buying less and 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 less. You can't buy the same for $100 5 years ago. You could buy a lot. We could buy double the amount of shit you can buy today. $100 10 years before that, you could buy double the amount of stuff of what you could 5 years ago, right? And if you look at the rate that the things keep losing its value, its currency, is getting faster and faster and faster. And why is that? Because of debt, because of currency manipulation, currency wars. They don't teach you this stuff. They don't watch you work it out. You'd be like, you're going to work for it. There'd be chaos. There'd be anarchy. There would be civil wars going on, right? So understanding, get your shit together and understand the game that's being played. Look at what the wealthy people have. Do what the wealthy people are doing. Don't do what the broke people are doing. Don't do what your neighbour's doing, because out of 100 people, 99 people are probably in the middle class or the poor level, not the ultra wealthy. So what are the other people doing? And how can you be more like them and make decisions like that? So, yeah, I think having cash, you're a loser. I'd say that so casually, right? If you have cash, you're a loser, right? I have cash in my bank. I have cash flow. Cash flow. My number plate's cash flow, right? I love cash flowing in and cash going out, because as soon as I get it, I want to buy another asset. It's going to make more cash flow. The asset's going to get inflated away because my cash is going to lose its value. If you have cash saved in the bank, oh, I'm going to save my way. There's no fucking billionaire safe and soft to wealth. No billionaire safe and soft to wealth, right? They've had assets. They've had a business that's sold. They've had a house that's sold. They've had multiple houses that's sold. We've had something they've done or forget it. They've sold their self. They've sold their time. They've sold their services, whatever the case may be. But sold their soul, whatever, right? The assets and the things that people have, and what do you have as an asset? You've got yourself, you got your mind, you've got the hours that are in your future. You can't go back and get all the hours back, right? You can't go back 10 years ago and say, hey, I want that time back. So the time you have today is very crucial. The time that you have moving forward, how can you best use that to trade that your more stated wealth position? In any inflation cycle, you have a little volatility. You might see your crypto go down, you might see your shares go down, whatever. They are at a point where currency is out of control, the currency creation. And here in 2025, I'm recording this at the start of February, but by the time this podcast would be out, the interest rates, I'd say, would be 90% chance we're going to be coming down. Right? I haven't checked the charts the last few days and stats and the confidence out there in the stock market. But the bonds, the rate that the bonds are being sold, it's all indicating that there's a, last time, 83% chance that a week ago, 83% chance that there's going to be a rate cut in February, right? That's based on the bond volume, the cost of the bonds, the price of those bonds. So if we start seeing, we've got a world where they haven't stopped inflation, right? Remember, they put up the interest rates from 10 to 435 basis points. So 10% or 1%, 0.1% was the interest rate before. Now the interest rate is 4.35%. They have not tackled inflation. Inflation has not stopped around us. And if they drop those interest rates, they put up a white flag saying, we concede defeat. We can't control inflation. And it's at that point that the markets will decide what happens to our currency. And it's going to be amazing, you know? And we're going to end up, I've talked about it for a long time, we're in the much greater and more advanced cycle of a hyperinflation. A hyperinflation may only last 12 to 24 months. And in a hyperinflation, the cost of your food might go up 10 times a day, right? The value of the currency is totally destroyed. But we're in the more advanced stages of that. It's like 10-year thing. We're probably 3-4 years of that into it right now. When they start dropping rates, when they start printing more money, when they start doing more stimulus into the system, that's going to create greater level of inflation. The richer people will become fuckloads more richer. When I say richer, I don't like the word rich, I like wealthier. All right. I think rich is an illusion. The poor, they couldn't afford shit already because everyone's struggling. People will be like, oh yeah, so happy. Mortgage relief is here. My interest rates have come down 2%, right? You'll think you're fucking happy, right? You're going to save yourself $500 a month, you think. However, your food's going to go up double. Your petrol's going to go up double. Your clothing's going to go up double. Your electricity bill's going to double. And you're going to think you saved some money because the interest rate came down. You're going to be fucked, right? So the wealthy in that cycle, I'm so excited for it. I'm fucking ready, right? Destroy the carrot. I'm just thinking in my head. I might sound crazy, right? It might sound crazy things to say. Destroy the currency, right? Because I know that I've got my position. I would love the reverse to happen. And all the chest. I know this game is rigged, right? Since the day you were born, since the day I was born, right? Looking at some staff that are filming there, something like 20, 25, 30s, however old everyone is, like, 20. 20 years ago, the world was in it was, 20 years before that, I came to the world. My parents' world that they grew up into, they were born into this slavery system, right? It's a slavery system that we're born into, and nothing changed, right? All that's happened is that the wealth is being stripped off us further and further and further into the future, and at a much faster and more aggressive rate that we're seeing today. And I've fucking seen it for 20 years, and it's all those factors, and this is not the first time this has happened. The wealth is being stolen from every day. It's fucking sad, right? It's sad. We're born into this. Everyone just obeys the system in the matrix, goes, the government told me to do this. It'll only take 2 weeks to flatten the curve. I just need to do 2 of these to get out of the system, and you get back to your job or whatever. We've been enslaved in this system, right, for a long time. And the wealth is going to get ripped much more aggressive. 10 years ago, there was shit cars on the road. 20 years ago, there was really shit cars. You'd see cars, just think about those of you that are older or, been for a longer time in the country. You wouldn't see brand new cars. Every car on the road is brand new today, right? You don't see old cars. In 2008, when the GFC arrived, they did the thing for cash for clunkers, right? They did an inflation. No one even realized what happened in the GFC. And it's really clear. It's the first time I've ever said this, right? I've said in the early 1990s, they broke down the family unit. They got the wife to go to work. They made the childcare rebates. They got 2 incomes into their house to enslave the husband and the wife to have to go to work. The system recovered from the last crash, but now you've got no one who can ask the kids apart from the state or state-paid people that do that, right? Anyway, it's a separate story to this one. In 2006, 2007, 2008, when it had the GFC, they forced basically everyone to go and get a new car, right? And those cars and everyone's excited by the car. They're doing the same thing with an EV, though, right? With your fucking Teslas. I can't stand seeing on the road, right? You drive on and make no files about my commentary on it. The Teslas, they're just everywhere now. The BYDs, they're everywhere. Like, they're all over the road, right? But that's another scam, and we'll identify what the truth is behind that another 10 years, right? But these old cars, everybody that owned a car, like, let's go back to 2007. In 2007, there was Datsuns, there was Daihatsu, there was fucking cars from the 80s and 90s. They were all square cars. They were all square cars with fucking metal or plastic bumper bars, and all the panels were metal at the front, right? They didn't necessarily have airbags. None of them had airbags, right? And then they wanted to change the DNA of the car and the lifestyle of the people, right? So they made disposable cars, right? These cars, you don't have a square box car anymore, right? The car will hit a wall and you just go, we'll just bog it up, it should be right. Everybody owned their car. Everybody owned their car. No one had fucking car loans, right? Like, well, they did. But 80% of people owned their car before 2008. Today, people drive around in $100,000 Ford Rangers, a fucking Ford Ute for $100,000. Well, mate bought one over to me the other week, and I was like, I bought mine for 75. Last time I bought one, I bought two of them, right? 70, 62, then went to 75. It's paid $100,000 for $110,000 for a bucket Ford Ranger Ute. Crazy, right? But if you look out in the car park, if you're listening to this while you're driving home, observe all the cars around, where's a square car box car, right? There's none. All the cars are 5-10 years old. They're disposable. They're built to be put back in the incinerator, put them into a cube, send them off, rebuild them into the next car, right? The cars they're not owned. How many are owned by the people? Maybe 10%, 20%. I don't have the stats on theirs. But I'd have a very confident guess that 70% of the cars out there would most likely be on finance today, right? So it's flipped. People don't even own their own car. They're enslaved to go to work in the little car. They got paid for their car. It's like, so the quality of life is being stripped time and time again, right? And here we are, we're entered into a new phase. We're going to see a new financial cycle that happens. Everyone's going to sit there and go, I bought a property, I'm so great, it doubled or tripled in value, I'm the best hero out there, I made money. No, you didn't. You just transferred a little bit of wealth from one system to another system in time, being 5 years from now, 10 years from now, whatever. But you're comparing it to the value of money and currency. Drive down a street of red brick houses, look at 20 red brick houses, and think about it. Did those red brick houses get better than what they were 10 years ago? They're still the same fucking red brick house that was sitting there 10 years ago. Still the same 3 bedrooms, still the same little garage. Might have been that may have put a little bit of spray paint on the roof. It may have made it look a little bit different. Trying to hide. So I wouldn't guess that. That house used to be a red brick house, now would I? Right? The house didn't get any better. But how come the price doubled of it? How come the price tripled of it? What made the price triple? Everyone goes, oh, because it's a great neighbourhood. No, it didn't. Because the shittest areas in Australia have doubled or tripled. I bought houses for fucking $10,000 in Kempsey, $7,500 in Kempsey, right? I mean, you drive down the streets and out of 50 houses, 40 of them are burnt to toast, right? These houses that I bought for $10,000, they're selling for $300,000 a day. I saw one in my own house that I sold for like 150, got 5 off me. I was like, fuck this is an admin issue. Right? I 10x'd it. But then they're selling for that again. The house didn't get any better. The neighborhood didn't get any better. The people didn't get any better, right? But what happened is they printed so much money, the value looked cheap there, people go and put their cash there. So how can you benefit from this system that's placed in front of us? I thank the central banks. I thank these corrupted government officials that have the ability to push these buffers. I thank the table that's being set for us all to play this game at. Because if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't be able to sit here and go, I bought a property for 200, now it's worth 300, 400, 500. The system, it's there. It's been there before you. It's been there after you. It all goes back in the box when you die. The next person comes to sit at the table and play. And the reality of it is that how can we take advantage of that? If you want to be wealthy, play the games of the wealthy. Understand what the wealthy are doing. Understand how they're making money out of it. Look at it, study it. It's there in front of you. It's like in fucking clear vision for us all to look at. So, I've gotten a bit excitable by that. But yeah, looking at it, there's options out there. What's your strategy as we enter into the next phase of this monetary catastrophe cycle? Be it fiat currency that we're in, the fiat debt-based Ponzi bubble of a system that's falling apart. How are you going to be able to take advantage in this next phase? Are you going to set yourself up to be the wealthy, or are you going to set yourself up to be the middle class, or are you going to set yourself up to be the poor? So let me tell you, the poor and middle class, in every time where inflation hits, gets wiped out. And it will be no different in this next cycle, that they will get wiped out. So make that decision this short window. It's getting harder and harder. Every year of your life since you've been born, It's harder and harder to get ahead, harder and harder to do this, harder and harder to do that. Do you think it's going to get fucking easier? You do. You got rocks in your head. I'll pray for you. Hopefully, you and your family are safe. But if you're not, and you can see it, how do you need to take? What choice do you have? What options do you have? On that note, I've done a big read today. I'm excited by the things that I shared. Hopefully you got some information out of that. If you need help or guidance or direction or whatever, reach out to my team, my 300-367-925, admin at B.Invested.au. Hit us up. Follow us on Google Play, Apple Play, Spotify, and YouTube. And I'll see you back here next Thursday with our podcast. Have a great day. Bye now.
Like Bilal said, man, we're stuck in the matrix. This my advice, don't care if you take it.